Welterweight is finally moving. Ian Garry has swapped out of his Florida main event to fight Joaquin Buckley. Will now be taking on Shavkat Rakhmonov at UFC 310. Colby Covington has stepped up on short notice and is going to be fighting a up and coming contender. Yes, you heard that right. He's not fighting for the belt. He's not fighting someone that's 60 years old and is coming off 3 losses. He's fighting an up and coming contender. What a fucking day to be a welterweight fan. So, welterweight's finally moving. We'll get into the first fight, the one everyone wants to talk about, really. Shavkat versus Ian Garry. It is time we start putting respect on Ian Garry's name, okay? I know you hate the guy, okay? But this dude will literally fight anyone. This is his second time, fighting. He fought down the rankings twice with Michael Venom Page and was scheduled to fight Joaquin Buckley. So he fought down once and he was meant to fight down again. And now he's fighting Shavkat Rakhmonov, taking it on short notice as well. Yes, he was preparing for Joaquin Buckley, but Joaquin Buckley and Shavkat Rakhmonov are 2 different fighters. So it's time we start giving Ian Garry some respect on his name. I know it's mad to think he's finally come out of the corner of his room and is going to be taking on an absolute fucking killer. Like, the dude will fight anyone. We have to give him his respect. 2 undefeated fighters. You know, the O has got to go, as they say. And I am picking Shavkat in this fight. I think Ian Garry's got good skills, but I think Ian Garry's a little bit basic. And let's break down his kind of best win. So you have the Neil Magny fight. Couldn't finish Neil Magny, which is fucking tragic. Okay, and I don't care if he sits there and says, oh, I didn't want to finish him, I wanted him to suffer. Like, if the finish was there, he would have taken it. And if you're not trying to finish and you're trying to do that, that's the worst thing you could do. Yes, he got some 10-8s or 10-7s. Like, I don't really care. You couldn't finish one-legged Neil Magny. That is fucking poor, okay? Jeff Neal, I think it was a split decision, if memory serves. Some people thought he lost that fight, okay? A lot of people actually thought he lost that fight. Didn't necessarily look great. It was boring. Ian Garry's had a lot of boring fights lately. And then the other fight, Michael Venom Page was schooling him on the feet in that second round, okay? And I actually thought MVP won that fight. Thought he won the second and the third, I'll be real. You know, Ian Garry did in the first round and got his back in like the third to ride out the round. I just thought MVP won based off damage and all that, you know. So he's kind of like had some lackluster performances. And I just think if you can't finish Neil Magny, you're struggling with Jeff Neal and Michael Venom Page. Someone like Shavkat, who's got the credentials on the feet, has the submission threat, is able to grapple, has good cardio and has a chin. I think that's a recipe for disaster for Ian Garry. Like, I think Ian has very good basic boxing. I think he's got a fast jab. But the thing is, Ian doesn't move his head. That's one thing I feel like Ian's going to fall down on in this fight. I feel like Shavkat's going to be able to get Ian up against the cage and land the shots. Shavkat's fast with his jab. Ian Garry's definitely got better kicks. So I think a kick-heavy approach, keeping Shavkat at range, is the best way to win this fight. I don't really see Ian having anything for him in the grappling. Anything, you know. I think Ian does a very good job of, if he's up against the cage or he's in a clinch against the cage, he is very good at being able to get out of those situations and get back to range in the middle. That is going to be crucial in this fight, in my opinion. Ian Garry cannot be up against that cage. We've seen so many fighters, they do so well when their opponent's up against the cage. You know, Islam Makhachev and Khabib get takedowns up against the cage. Ilya Topuria lands his best combinations and punches when his opponent's up against the cage. Stuff like that. Staying in the middle is going to be crucial for Ian. I think Shavkat's going to be pressing forward, which Ian is not used to. He's usually used to, you know, his own pace. He's able to pick at range. He's able to find those jabs and shots. But Shavkat, Ian's plan is to pick at range, like I said. Shavkat's plan is to go, I'm getting in your fucking face whether you like it or not. Let's see if you can hang. Will Ian be able to hang for... It's 5 rounds. It's 5 fucking rounds. I don't think Ian Garry's going to win this fight. I think Shavkat's bad matchup for him. I trust Shavkat's chin more as well. Ian Garry gets hit. Like I said, he doesn't move his head. Shavkat's very quick with his strikes. I think he's going to be able to find Ian Garry's chin. Ian Garry will have success in this fight, though. You know, I do think Ian's going to have moments in this fight. But I think Shavkat's well-rounded in this. His overall game is better pretty much everywhere than Ian Garry. Better grappling. Maybe Ian has better boxing. It is basic, but I think it's good basic. You know, he's quick jab. Nice kicks. I think high kicks as well. He should implement high kicks in this fight. Shavkat hasn't really fought many high kicks. I know one like Wonderboy, but he just fucking grappled Wonderboy, like, you know. So I think just Shavkat's gonna be able to get in his face, do a lot of work up against the cage in the clinch, land them shots there. He's just going to be pressing forward all fight. Like he's always throwing output. But Shavkat is very hittable as well. I rewatched some of his fights. I think he's very hittable, but I just don't think Ian Garry has the power to really cause him problems. He's definitely got the precision to land, but I don't think he has the power to really hurt Shavkat and make me question, like, oh fuck, he's hurt here. You know, like Ian Garry was finishing people, but since he got like to that kind of top 10 ranking, he's had boring fights. MVP was quite boring. Neil Magny was boring. Jeff Neal was boring. These are against the kind of better of the division, and you're not even in that top 5 yet. Jeff Neal was the closest thing, and some people thought he lost. I thought he beat Jeff Neal, but just about. So I am a bit worried about Ian in this fight. I want Ian Garry to win this fight because the absolute fucking scenes if Ian Garry gets a championship. The sport would be flipped on its head. The attention and just like the press and everything, like people would be tuning in. Everyone, I don't personally hate Ian Garry, okay? I don't. I just think he's good for the sport. You know, I'd rather have Ian Garry as champ than fucking Bilal. People hate Bilal, but no one cares about Bilal. At least people want to see Ian Garry fight. Probably to lose, but I just don't think anyone cares about Bilal Muhammad. So that's what I'm kind of thinking with this fight. I think Shavkat's going to be able to... I think his moving forward, a relentless pressure, is going to be the difference in this fight. Ian is not used to fighting people that walk forward. Look what happened in the second round against MVP when Ian was backing up just a little bit. MVP was finding so much success. Now, I do think MVP is one of the slickest strikers in the sport. Shavkat doesn't have his same kind of striking style, but I think Shavkat's just as dangerous as MVP. More dangerous. Yeah, way more dangerous than MVP. He's never seen the judges. Like, he's finished every single fight. And I don't think it's going to be different here. This is 5 rounds against a full training camp Shavkat that was preparing for a title fight. You know what I'm saying? And I know Ian Garry's preparing for 5 rounds against Joaquin Buckley, but the stylistic difference of opponent is insane. Now, Bilal is a different style than Shavkat as well. But I just think Shavkat has such a well-rounded game. I just think if he faces anyone in the division, I think he's going to have a solution to their kind of weaknesses. My biggest problem with this for Ian is not moving his head, and the fact that I don't know how well he's going to do against Shavkat moving forward in his face. I don't, bro. I don't. And he loves picking at range and finding his shots at his own pace, but that's not going to work against Shavkat. Okay, you're going to have success at times, but for 25 minutes, I guarantee you Shavkat might shoot in this fight. Shavkat's going to be in his face, but Shavkat can implement that grappling. And I think that's a smart idea to give Ian something to think about. Because we haven't seen Ian Garry's grappling to the fullest potential. What happens when you take his back? What happens when you have him held down in a good position? How can he get back up? You know, credit to him because he hasn't let anyone do that. But there's still that question there for me personally. So I'm gonna go with a Shavkat 4th round TKO. I think Ian Garry. I don't think he's gonna gas. I do think I haven't seen any evidence to suggest that Ian Garry is gonna gas out in this fight. But I just think Shavkat's going to put the pressure on late. Now, maybe Ian will gas. Maybe Shavkat will gas. But I haven't seen either of them slow down in a fight. So I'm not going to say, yeah, Ian Garry's going to gas. You have no... If people saying that, yeah, you have no fucking proof to that. Do you know? Yes, his chin is kind of a question sometimes. Just because he got knocked down fucking once. Clean fucking shot. If Shavkat rocks Ian Garry in this fight, he's finishing him. In my opinion, I just don't think you're going to get away from him like he did in that when he got rocked the last time. So Ian Garry's got to be very good in this fight. This is a high level fight. And I'm really looking forward. This is a fucking banger. Okay, number 1 contender fight for sure. Nobody can deny that. And fair play to Shavkat. You know, he had the title shot secured. He could have sat out and said, you know what, fuck that. I'm waiting for Bilal. I was booked. I shouldn't be punished. But instead, he was like, cool. Another undefeated up-and-comer? Give it to me. This is what I love. Welterweight, the Usmans, the Colbys. I'm going to get onto him and Buckley now in a minute too. The Usmans, the Colbys. Their time is gone. And I do believe that when I get into the Colby fight. It's about Shavkat, Ian, JDM. All these is Gilbert's gone now as well. Sean Brady's back up now. The Gilberts, they're all come and gone. Okay, it's time for these new fighters to come in here and take over this division, which I'm really, really looking forward to as well, because they're fucking entertaining. And this is proof they will literally fight each other no matter what. This is such a risky fight for Ian and Shavkat, because they're both undefeated, and a loss will do insane damage to their career. Insane damage. But a win, that's what they're thinking. A win. You know how some fighters, they'll probably say, oh, loss, like, it'll set me back so much. What will a win do? That's what they think, because they truly believe they're both going to win. It's time we start putting respect on Ian Garry's name. The dude will fight anyone. Yes, he is a cook, but at least he's a fucking, a fighter. Like, he's an actual fighter. Moving on, I'm going with Shavkat 4th rank TKO. Joaquin Buckley versus Colby Covington. I still don't understand that Colby Covington is actually fighting someone that's dangerous, up and coming on short notice. People can shit on Colby all they want. You have to give him at least a little bit of credit in this one, that this is a dangerous fight for him to take. Now, the only reason I think he took this is because it's in Florida. That's his home state. I believe that's where he's from. So there is incentive there, okay? Like, he is fighting down, and Buckley will sell this. Like, it's going to be a good sell. Like, he'll talk some shit. Buckley always talks shit. I'm not that big of a fan of Joaquin Buckley, to be quite honest with you. I think he's fucking annoying. I think Colby's annoying, so it's going to be like a train crash of just annoying fuckers on the mic. I think Buckley's going to KO Colby. I really do. Colby Covington has no head movement. I talked about Ian Garry's head movement there. Colby has absolutely no head movement, okay? We all know what Colby's going to go in there and do. He's going to try hold Joaquin Buckley down. Joaquin Buckley is extremely hard to hold down, okay? He was on like a fucking really weird thing of trying to find his feet in which division. He was middleweight for a while, but he was losing the kind of like top guys like Imavov, and he got knocked out by Kevin Holland, and Chris Curtis knocked him out, I'm pretty sure. So he had like a really hard time of feeling the middleweight. He's really settled into welterweight now, I feel. Like, Wonderboy KO, I thought he was losing that fight. Wonderboy was doing very well in that fight. He was hitting him a lot. But he got the KO. And then he beat Vicente Luque. Finishing Vicente Luque the way he did, like, he just broke him and made him quit, which is never heard of. Like, ever. That dude's got it. I always thought that dude was a fucking soldier. Okay? And he went in there and did it. You have to give Buckley credit there. He's on momentum. Plus, I think he's a good stylistic fight for Covington. I really like Buckley's movement. It's reminds me of Ilya's in certain aspects of the way he moves as regards when he's moving. If you look at Dominic Cruz's movement, the energy he's exerting to have that movement. Buckley is moving all the time, but he's not exerting energy like Ilya in that kind of a way. They're moving, they're always keeping, on their toes, but they're not exerting a lot of energy. Buckley's head movement is good. Colby Covington has absolutely no power. Okay, that's extremely clear. And we know he's going to go in there and try hold Joaquin Buckley down. I think he's got decent level striking on a technical level. Like, I like Covington's jab when he's working it, and he's got quick hands, but there's no threat there. And I just think he's kind of like tapping you to get you down. So he might throw like 2 or 3 punches and then shoot in for a takedown, literally just to keep you guessing. And I think Buckley's going to realise that. I think he's strong enough for welterweight to be able to keep Covington off him, because he's a fucking big welterweight. Like, he is very strong. Plus, Covington is old. I think he's in his late 30s. This isn't the guy that fought RDA or something like that. Plus, that was a mad close fight, okay? People go on about that fight. That shit was close. That's why I think Colby's going to get chinned, because I think Buckley's movement's going to be able to keep him on his toes, and Colby has no head movement. I think when Colby's going to try and touch Buckley, Buckley's going to be able to counter. I think Buckley's going to get him up against the cage and chin him there. That's how I see this kind of going. Like, he'll be able to move Covington back. Covington likes to kind of circle around, and I think Buckley's going to be able to find his chin there. And I do think Joaquin Buckley is going to try and grapple with him in this fight. But I think that's going to be a good way of keeping kind of Colby on his toes, of like, Let's say he does get him down in the first round, Buckley. Let's say Buckley gets Colby down in the first round. That's going to be in Covington's head, okay? Knowing he can get taken down. That's another thing for him to keep guessing with. And then when you start to kind of have him guessing of, fuck, he might be able to take me down here, that's when openings happen on the feet. And especially since Colby does not move his head one bit, like I said, Buckley's going to find that shin. This is 5 rounds. I do think 5 rounds does favour Colby in a way of like, I don't ever see Colby fighting in a 3-rounder ever again. If I'm being completely honest with you, like, his gas tank was always his best weapon. The pace he used to put on people, like the Robbie Lawler fight, just in an insane level of pace. The Usman first fight, you know, the dude does not gas out. In fairness, you love, hate, whatever you fucking think about Colby Covington, the dude does not gas out. Buckley, I'm interested to see him in 5 rounds. I don't necessarily think he's going to completely gas and Covington's going to be able to drown him later on. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. I just think the non-head movement of Colby is going to lead to Buckley being able to find openings, especially with the movement. Like, Colby doesn't have momentum going into this fight. I know he can sit there and say, oh, the presidential election gave me this new energy and shit like that, but that's all a show, okay? That's all a show. He is not riding momentum, especially how fucking shit he looked in his last fight, okay? Like, he said he broke his foot in the first fucking round, or who gives a fuck? He lost badly. And what give Buckley a bit of confidence is Colby had no success with the takedowns with Leon Edwards, apart from the 5th round where Leon just let him kind of hold him down because he was cruising to a decision. Like, why take the risk? That's probably what he was thinking. Buckley's kind of like, okay, this guy is insane pace, but I don't think he can hold me down. And I don't think Covington's going to be able to hold Buckley down. If Buckley stuffs early takedowns and starts landing on Colby in that first round, you know exactly where that's heading. Heading to the fucking ambulance, okay? Because you're going to absolutely chin him. It's kind of like, I see this fight as like obviously the winner's going to fight up, okay? But it's just mad to think, Colby, is he going to sit out and say, oh, I deserve a title shot now, I took a short notice fight against an up and coming contender, it's my time? Like, I can easily see him saying that, you know? Whereas Buckley, I feel like he's not like that. Like, he's very active. He only fought Wonderboy like 2 months ago, you know? And now he's back in there against Colby, and taking him on short notice is a risk for him as well, because like all the reasons I mentioned there, like the gas tank and stuff like that, the fact that he is a massive name, so if he loses to Colby, I personally don't feel Colby Covington is a top 5 welterweight anymore. I don't think Colby's top 5 welterweight. I think Ian will beat him. I think JDM beats him. I think Shavkat beats him. I think Bilal beats him. Usman's already beat him. I think Sean Brady gives him problems. You know, like, if you can't beat Joaquin Buckley as Colby Covington, I think you are done in this sport. Okay? The dude should never, ever fight for an undisputed world title ever again, in my opinion, unless you absolutely clear out that top 5. But he won't. He won't. Let's be real here. He won't fight half of them. Okay? I'm giving him his credit here. He's taking this on short notice. It's a dangerous stylistic matchup for him. But it is in Florida. The crowd's going to be behind him, and he will go in with that momentum of it being in Florida. But he won't have any momentum as regards his performances, okay? The dude's so inactive, and he just sits out, and I think it's going to catch up to him on this fight. Buckley's been active. He's very fucking dangerous. He's strong. He's got good takedown defense. I do not see Colby being able to hold him down. I really don't. And I think Buckley's going to be able to find that chin. I think he's going to lay Colby Covington out. I'm going to go with a second round. I'll go with 3rd round KO. That's an early prediction. This fight literally got announced a few hours ago. So, round 3 KO for Joaquin Buckley is my early prediction on this fight. But let me know what you all think about welterweight down below in the video. Thanks for watching.